I'm Dr. Laura Tipton, and I'm a professor of data science at Chaminade University. I'm going to talk to you today about a particular aspect of data science, which is clustering. And clustering is when we try to group things that are similar together, even if we don't know how many groups we're going to have. And this is something that shows up in our day-to-day life, and we do it without thinking about it. One of the most common examples that I'm going to use today is sorting silverware. So it's pretty easy. You put your forks with your forks, your spoons with your spoons. But what happens when you come across something like this? It's both a fork and a spoon. Where do I put it? So that's where data science can come in. And I'm going to show you how we do that both with data and in our head. Okay, so if we want to collect some data, we can use our whiteboard. So we know we have multiple pieces of silverware, so like piece 1, piece 2, piece 3, piece 4, piece 5, and we want to collect certain things about it. Maybe we want to know how many points does it have? Maybe we want to know how many holes does it have? Maybe we want to know what it's made of. But when we want to know what it's made of, we can't just record it that way. We have to record it as a number. So we'll ask a yes or no question. Is it metal? Is it plastic? Or is it wood? And maybe you have some other things made of different materials. That's kind of what I have in front of me. So we'll make this into a grid, and then we'll start filling this in. So starting with a fork. A fork has 4 points, 0 holes. It's metal, so we'll record that as a 1. A yes for 1. It's not plastic, so we'll use a 0 to record that as a no. And it's not wood, so another 0. Let's come back to this funky spork. It's also got 4 points and 0 holes, but it's not made of metal, made of plastic, and it's not made of wood. What about something tricky, like this, kind of sporkish? It's got 3 points, 3 points, no holes. It's not metal, it's plastic, and it's not wood. Something like this, no points. It's nice and round. I like a spoon, no holes. It's not metal, it is plastic, and it's not wood. How about chopsticks? We want to make sure that they're together, so we'll count them as one item. But we can say that they have 2 points, no holes, they're not metal, they're not plastic, they're actually wood. And let's do one more so that we get something with some holes. P6. So this again has no points, but it has 1, 2, 3, 4 holes. It's not metal, it is plastic, and it's not wood. And we could keep going through this whole set of silverware that I have in front of me, but we're going to stop here. Now that we've collected all of our data, we would actually create some distance between them and map that out. So we'll start with our fork, set it down over here. Our spork was actually very close in distance to our regular fork because it also has 4 points. So we'll set it like right next to that. And then we had our plastic, also kind of a spork. It's gonna go quite near there as well, maybe a little farther away since it only has 3 points, but it's also made of plastic. And then we have our spoon that again is gonna go maybe quite a bit further away since it doesn't have any points. Then we had our 2-point chopsticks. And so here's where we start using different dimensions to do this. This is wood as opposed to plastic, so maybe we'll stick it up here. This one has holes, so it's gonna go somewhere totally different. And we just keep going this way. So this one actually has a lot of points, so we're gonna stick it well over here. And we just keep going with this. This one has holes, but is metal. Probably gonna be pretty near the forks, right? And so when we do this, we end up having our big metal spoons next to our little metal spoons because we didn't collect any data on size. So they're gonna be right next to each other. All of our metal forks are gonna go, all of our metal forks are identical, so they're actually gonna go right on top of each other in space, just like they do in a silverware drawer. Start having things like knives. Plastic spoons are probably going to be close to our metal spoons. What happens if something's part of a set? Clearly these two things go together. You'd want to store them together. But based on our algorithm, or our sorting, our clustering so far, we would actually put this really near the spoons. And we've separated that set. So maybe that's another piece of data that we want to collect, and we've figured that out as we go. Again, we didn't measure length, so these two things are going to be very similar to each other. So if we start looking at this, we see that things kind of grouped themselves. We end up with our forks all together, whether they're metal or plastic or wood. Our spoons ended up together, and they even ended up with some things that are very spoon-like, but you wouldn't actually necessarily call a spoon. And you can see that, you know, things kind of ended up spaced out along this idea of having many points to having no points. And so this is clustering. Now that we have everything kind of spaced out, we get to say, this is a cluster, this is a cluster. Maybe we could say that this is a cluster of wood things, and this is a cluster of big plastic serving utensils. It really becomes up to you how you define them, and then how you put them in the drawer. Let me tell you a little bit about how data scientists use clustering in their work. Personally, I use it when looking at DNA sequences to start grouping the sequences into different species of bacteria. It also gets used a lot in biology in gene expression data, so which proteins and which genes are being expressed in similar patterns. Clustering also gets used a lot in artificial intelligence when a machine tries to learn different patterns that it sees around it. Some other places that you might be clustering things without realizing it are your closet. If you organize your clothes by color or season or whether they're tops or bottoms, and probably your shoes by the front door. You probably put all your shoes together and all grown-ups' shoes together. So I invite you to try this on different groups of objects in your life, like your clothes, your shoes, your toys, and your silverware drawer. Happy clustering!